Hey guys, it's Matt from Train Sim Society. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome if you're new. So it is release day for the Birmingham to Crew route in TSW6, and what should have been a smooth launch has turned into yet another console disaster. Imagine how tired we are. As I'm recording this, the PC version has not gone live yet, but it is expected later today, I believe at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, USA, since that's the usual time it goes live. But console players though have already been hit with serious problems right out of the gate. Pretends to be shocked. So players on PlayStation 5 and Xbox discovered that they didn't even receive the correct version of the root. PS5 users received build 651 instead of 1140, and on Xbox, some players were still on 1135 even though 1140 was meant to be the final one. And because of that mix-up, it's leaving players with broken timetables, crashes during the Class 350 tutorial, missing sounds, and just a route that barely runs at all. So going beyond that, we have services that are spawning at the wrong station, arrival times that are blank, the very infamous blurry texture issue around Birmingham New Street, OHLE and cab audio cutting out, and on Xbox Series X, players are even receiving out-of-memory crashes before finishing the tutorial. Now let's be honest here with this. For a 30-pound route, that is unacceptable. This has to stop. We did receive a reply from Dovetail officially though. This one came from Jamie. He did confirm that the wrong build did go out and told players to switch their resolution to HD and disable layers like the Class 150 and LSL static stock to reduce crashing. And that advice definitely didn't fare too well. And honestly, I agree with everyone that's upset over this response, because even that itself is also just unacceptable. Players spent their hard-earned money on these layers as a part of the experience. That is what's going to make Birmingham to Crew the route that it is. It is a route that is based around and solely focused on layers, since we really aren't receiving any new stock apart from the different variants of the Class 350 with the improvements. So, I think them being told to just turn them off to make the game stable really just feels like a slap in the face. Folks are sending in refund requests. The forums are filled with people saying they're tired of the cycle. I couldn't agree more. I mean, this happens every time. We buy a route, we find out it's broken, we wait weeks for a patch, then watch the same thing happen again and again and again with new content. We need to stop this cycle because it's tiring. Now, there was even another thread that was listing some recent examples of this happening. We have December's 2024 West Coast Mainline South patch, July's Manchester Airport commuter, the launch of TSW6 in September, and now with this Birmingham to Crew. That's 4 times, guys, in about a year where the wrong build was pushed to consoles. This is just embarrassing. I was already sort of worried about this coming out so soon after the release of TSW6, given we already have a ton of other issues within the game itself. The core features are still buggy. There are so many issues with past iterations of TSW that have just been carried over to 6, and we really need some time to get this game sorted. But no, we have yet another release for a DLC that's not working properly for people. And I think if you're not frustrated, you're part of the problem. We need to hold them accountable. We need to call these things out, because if we don't, it's just going to continue to happen. I really do understand all of this frustration, because console players really do make up a huge part of the community, yet keep getting treated like an afterthought. Now, for me personally, with my experience over on PC, I feel like we don't see nearly as many issues as console does. For the most part, we get the most recent builds, but I found it very interesting that even the ambassadors, some of which usually prefer console and have been very vocal throughout their early content that they wish they were playing this on PS5, but they're on PC. It sounded kind of like they weren't giving the option, and I thought that might mean something. Well, it's making a lot of sense today, this morning. I think a lot of those issues would have been exposed yesterday if there was early access content on consoles. Now, a lot of discussion has also centered on who's really to blame for this mess, and there were a lot of folks that initially criticized all aboard Board Studios, which is the developer of this root, for the missing timetable data and the performance issues, but it became very clear very quickly that Dovetail is the publisher at the end of the day. They uploaded the wrong build to PlayStation and Xbox, and I think most of that blame needs to go to Dovetail, the publisher. They're the ones that handle the certification and upload process for console platforms, so, you know, if the wrong files go live, that's on them, not the studio that built the root. Now, we don't know how the PC release is going to go because it hasn't happened yet, at least as of the time I'm recording this video. I'm hoping it goes smoothly, because if it doesn't, it's not going to be a very good review for this root when that does come in a few days. But I personally have hopes it's going to be okay, because it usually is for us. So, you know, while the All Aboard Studios team will likely still need to polish some things with this DLC, like optimization and timetable balancing, I think that this specific fiasco is definitely on Dovetail. But you can really feel how fed up people are in some of these forum threads. My gosh, just reading through it the past hour, it was rough. There's also a growing feeling that Dovetail doesn't properly test on real consoles anymore, but it's really just hard to disagree with all of this when you see the same problems repeat 4 times in a row. You know, at some point, that is not bad luck. I definitely don't think that we're asking too much for a product that works. We're not expecting perfection on day one, but we do at least deserve the right product that we paid for on day one. And it's a real shame, because under all of this chaos, Birmingham to Crew actually looks like a solid root. The preview stream, in my opinion, was amazing. I've been watching Ambassador content, which was done on PC, and it looks great. It's one of the most requested sections of the West Coast mainline and the first major release from All Aboard Studios. And I feel like a lot of that is just getting overshadowed by this mess, and it's unfortunate for the All Aboard Studios team. And honestly, if Dovetail wants to earn trust back, because it is quickly eroding at this point with every release that goes this way, they need to make a proper public statement. I don't want to see forum comments with workarounds. I want something to explain what went wrong and how they're going to stop it from happening again. I really don't blame you guys if you decide that you want to just save your money and wait to see how things go, because honestly, with console, we already knew that blurry textures were an issue, but this is just yet another tally on the whiteboard of occurrences with issues like this. Now, I will definitely check back once the PC build goes live to see if it's the version we were meant to get, but for console players, it has been just an absolute mess. Another sign that something behind the scenes definitely needs to change, because this pattern cannot keep going. Let me know what you think about all of this down below. Have you run into or experienced any issues if you play on console? Do you think Dovetail should pause future releases until they fix their upload process? What are your thoughts on this coming so soon after the release of TSW6? I had a bad feeling from the start. We gotta stop rushing these DLC out to make money. It's really making you guys look bad. Players are spending all this money and they're frustrated. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care and happy rail simming.